Thank you very much for finding time to visit us. I was talking to Dr. Abraham that, you look so young. And I was trying to get an idea of your average age. We concluded you must be between 21 and 22 years old. And I remember I was teaching students of that age in the 300 level, from the 300 level of our program in Bayero University, Kano, up to the 500 programs. Trust me, some of those graduates are serving vice chancellors as we speak. Yes. Some of them are brigadier generals, including Brigadier General Ogunleye. I just spoke with him a couple of minutes ago. And that I still stand very well on my 2 feet attests to the theory that is associated to professors, the longevity, theory. From time to time, I do have some aches here and there. And I attribute that, to the aging process, which nobody can do anything about. I have been at it for 38 years now. And I'm still managing to go a bit strong. I want to welcome you for this important visit. Dr. Abraham said you are visiting as part of your industrial attachment. And the NCC is an agency that regulates the the commercial industrial sector, telecommunications sector of the economy. We are responsible for the telecommunications industry, which we regulate in all aspects. And as such, we are associated with an industry that is growing steadily, an industry that is stable, an industry that is vibrant, and contributing to the fortunes of the country by virtue of the contribution we're making to the gross domestic product of the country. Because we're associated here with young minds, the GDP accounts for what we produce in terms of goods and services. You can add consultancy too, in dollars. Okay? And when you divide this GDP by the population of the country, then you get what we call the GDP per capita. Nigeria's GDP stands at over $530 billion, the biggest GDP in Africa, bigger than the GDP of South Africa. So we are, by implication, Africa's largest economy and the fastest growing global economy. Of course, the GDP per capita is about $2,500, which places us way, way down the ladder of the GDP of other countries. Like Gabon has a higher GDP than us, right? Normally, countries with larger populations have lower GDP per capita because of the population. When you divide the GDP with the population of the country, that is when you get the GDP per capita. Well, we're not here today to talk about our GDP per capita, I'm sure. We're here to talk about the very bright program that you are pursuing in the NDA that will in turn result in giving you a highly fulfilling and rewarding career in the military. And I said in the military because that is a very, very institution, in the country, the military institution. And I recall driving from Bayero University, Kano, all the way to NDA to teach communications engineering. And like I said, one of my students is Brigadier General Ogulle. I've spoken to him just before I came here, telling him that we have these August visitors in our midst and whether he would like to come around. Unfortunately, he's very busy at the War College. You know, he's a military strategist teaching, you know, older military, you know, professionals everything you can find or read about military strategy. We talk about military strategy, we're talking about assessing our state of combat readiness. It used to be physical combat readiness, not anymore. We're talking about electronics combat readiness now. The two are different. Physical combat readiness is where you come face to face with the enemy, perhaps exchange blows. You know, when hostilities are high, you know, the gun may not do the damage alone. Okay, so you may end up throwing the gun and engaging your enemy in a physical combat. Not anymore. Electronics combat readiness entails destroying the enemy without necessarily engaging them physically. And that is the way the entire world is going. And it is you, young minds, who are looking forward to one day develop an ICT master plan, an implementation plan that will place this country among the league of countries with the highest electronic combat readiness. Take it from me. That is the direction the whole world is going. Perhaps you can write a very good software that will be able to trace the location of the enemy or the equipment, the military equipment that the enemy has deployed without moving from your location. All this you can do, and the rest is left perhaps to the Air Force to do the damage. That is why the Air Force have this motto. You know, their motto is, if it is war, willing, able, and ready. That's the motto of the Nigerian Air Force. And that to me is a most befitting motto, you know, which I'm sure they are deploying effectively in order to make us all live peacefully in our houses, in our institutions like the NCC. So communications is central to whatever electronic combat readiness strategy that you put in place. Because you have to communicate with your people or with other, you know, soldiers, you know, on the field, perhaps from the command and control center, give them instructions on which way to go, on which way not to go. If there's no communications, then they will not be able to head anywhere. Okay? If there are no communications, you'll not be able to give instructions to men of the Air Force to target, you know, the enemy, even in the sky. If there is no communications, then we'll not be able to do any damage to naval fleets, friendly naval fleets. And above all, if there is no communications, then the command and control center will be completely cut off from the rest of the military, be they land forces, air force, or naval personnel. So it is when you design a software, and this software is tested, that this software can be applied to do most of the work that hitherto we were doing physically. That is the advent of modern warfare that we are in as we speak. And I think you are fortunate to be students, officers, I must say, and gentlemen of one of the most prestigious institutions, military institutions in the country, the Nigerian Defence Academy. I congratulate you for being found worthy, both in character and learning, to be admitted into this prestigious institution, military institution. And it is my hope that you will do everything possible to justify this recognition that has been given to you. Study hard, apply yourselves, to your studies. Make sure you pass out with flying colors so that you can be able to go higher in the military establishment and do us proud as the military is doing at the moment. We are enjoying peace, harmony. We are exchanging ideas, we are collaborating, we are innovating, because the territorial integrity of this government is something that the military has decided to uphold as well as to secure. This is a very, very important national assignment, a highly patriotic assignment that the military is doing. We thank you very much for keeping us safe, for making sure that this country remains one, for making all the sacrifices you have made before or you are going to make, especially when you are beckoned to come forward and serve. This is a very important piece of patriotic duty that you are executing for this country, and it is unmindful, the duty is unmindful of your age. Young people in your bracket develop ideas, fantastic ideas, that these can subsequently be translated into reality in order to ensure that we're even more secure. Some mention was made of cybersecurity. It is a trending threat. The cyberspace is one that is experiencing challenges of cybercrime, cyber attacks, hacking, malware attacks, botnets attack. I'm talking about robots, the drones that we see daily, on our TV screens are characteristics of the reality that we live now. That you do not need to physically go there to do damage. You send the drones. We have seen examples of drones causing considerable damage to infrastructure, without mentioning the exact locations. But we have seen this from the days when the Russian Federation blocked Estonia for merely moving a bust of the bronze soldier of Tallinn. Tallinn is the capital of Estonia. The Russians decided to block Estonia, not by deploying, the military. No, they deployed robots. And the blockade was so effective that nothing was functioning inside that country of 1.5 million population in the former Soviet USSR. It took the intervention of sisterly governments in the country who came to the aid of Estonia in order to break the blockade. The rest, as they say, is history. But that incident, unfortunate, incident in Estonia, walk us to the reality that we are living today, the reality of cyber attack, the reality of the insecurity that characterizes our cyber space. It is your responsibility to not only give us territorial protection over this space we call Nigeria, but to ensure that the space above us is equally very, very secure and free from cyber attacks, cyber crimes, and so on and so forth, both within and those attacks that are coming in. So I assure you, when eventually you choose whatever topic you are going to choose for your project, make sure you give cybersecurity prominence in your choice, because that is what is trending now. Do something that will further secure this country from cyber attacks. Do something that will ensure that our data both personal data and other forms of data are secured, that there is no erosion of privacy and security of data. This will be an interesting, pioneer project, if and when you are required, to choose one. So, without taking too much of your time, I would like to say how delighted we are to welcome you to the Nigerian Communications Commission. I do not need to trace the history of the commission, but I need to state the important work that we are doing, even in conjunction with the military and other intelligence agencies of government. We are a very, very strategic agency of government. Some of the work we're doing is highly classified, and I don't think it is proper to be saying that, here. But we're an important member of the Joint Intelligence Board, a presidential board established, by the Commander-in-Chief. On that board, we have the military intelligence represented, we have the police, okay? We have the Department of State Service represented, we have the National Intelligence Agency represented, and we normally meet to discuss issues that are of concern to the Nigerian state, especially in terms of security, and proper solutions in order to contain the challenges confronting us daily as a country. So all the military establishments are represented, okay? The Chief of Military Intelligence is on that board. And I remember the immediate last one is what do you call him? ABM, isn't it? Air Vice Marshal. Yes, Osman is his name. He may have retired by now, but he's still, the military establishment is still represented by very, very powerful figures. And they normally come to the meeting dressed as you are, and normally make very, very useful recommendations on how to secure the country. At times, those of us who are considered as bloody civilians are often surprised. That is what they call us, the military. I hope you have not started yet, because you're too young. So don't start as yet, okay? We are amazed at how deeply knowledgeable these military officers are. They are highly, highly knowledgeable, and they speak in a manner that is so convincing, with such force. They exude confidence when they speak to us. And that is the caliber of officers, of the army that we normally associate with almost on a monthly basis. So when I see you, even when you're struggling with a yawn, I'm assured that the hierarchy is one that is assured. That as people like me are passing out, giving room to younger minds, we're assured that those filling our footsteps will do the useful work that we're doing and even do it better, because we call them the digital natives. We're analog, partly digital, but you are purely digital. You are thinking, the way you sort of assimilate ideas, new ideas. You do it perhaps even at the speed of light. And so perhaps one of you can tell me what they know about the speed of light. What is the speed of light? Yes, you. No, sit down. Sorry? The speed of light is 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. That is 100 million meters per second. Can you tell me of any phenomenon that can move so fast? 100 million meters per second. That is the speed of light. Okay? In what? In pre-space. Okay? When light moves in any other medium, that speed is reduced by the square root of the permittivity of the medium. Okay? And when you multiply the permittivity of free space, okay, with that, when you multiply it by the permeability of free space, that's how you come, to that very, very important figure. 3 times 10 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. And I'm sure you know what is that speed of light. I mean, what is the permittivity of free space? Sure, you can tell me that. It's constant. 1/36 pi, okay? 1 divided by 36 pi times 10 to the power of 9 farads per meter. When you multiply that with the permeability of free space, which is 4 pi times 10 to the power of -7 Henry per meter, you multiply these two together, you come up with the speed of light, which is 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Can you imagine? That's how fast light travels. 100 million meters per second. Those are some of the stuff I'm sure your lecturers are teaching you, because there's no way you'll learn about computer science without talking about the speed of light, speed at which signals travel in different media. Even your body is characterized by the same constants, the permittivity and permeability. Okay, so we can be able to with certainty say this is how much the signal will travel inside your flesh. Okay? Because your body is not impervious to such signals. Okay? And if your body is indeed impervious to such signals, then you will not be receiving electric shocks. You can be able to touch anything electrical and come out of it, of the experience, safe. So this is a very fascinating area that you people are pursuing, computer science, the science of computers. Okay? And I think that will give you the necessary preparation that you need to be able to do many things. When I taught in the NDA, I was teaching master's degree students of the NDA. And Colonel Ogule was my student. And we were teaching them advanced communication systems, at master's degree level. Right. So let me leave it there. I mean, just reminding myself about the days when I used to stand in front of my own students at Bayero University, Kano. Such is the amount of time we devote to prepare very well that students will say, where do we learn all this? It says, daily. Whenever you do things, on a daily basis, they will remain for you. Okay? And they said, professors are normally absent-minded. Okay? The spiritual professor is normally absent-minded and shy. But I assure you, give that professor a microphone, like you just did in my case, and he will overcome. She or he will overcome the shyness, and he will not appear to be absent-minded. It is an art, that you can cultivate. I'm not asking you to be professors of computer science. I'm asking you to cultivate the habit so that you can be excellent officers and gentlemen of the military. Welcome to the Nigerian Communications Commission, and I wish you a very, very pleasant experience while you're here with us. There's a suggestion that you can ask any question that is, related to communications. Okay, and I believe even if I'm not answer those questions, I will have some staff of the commission to help me answer them. I cannot claim to know everything. I will not be a professor if I know everything, because there are no such professors. Those who know everything are not professors. They are something else. Okay? Thank you very much for listening.